Hi and welcome to Dave Culinary. I'm Punita Dave, and today we are going to make marinara sauce. Now marinara sauce is usually made with San Marzano tomatoes, but they're not readily available in the stores. And you can find cans of those, but if you're like me and you don't like canned food a lot, then what do? So what we are going to do today is we are going to make marinara sauce using Roma tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and a couple of tomatoes on wine. So we're going to mix it all together and make our own marinara sauce at home. It turns out so delicious that everybody in my home absolutely loves it. So let's get going with making marinara sauce. So let's look at the ingredients first. I have 5 pounds of Roma tomatoes, 1.5 pounds of cherry tomatoes and 3 tomatoes on vine. Now usually marinara sauce is made with San Marzano tomatoes, but it's not possible to get them fresh every time and I don't like to use the canned ones. So I have my own way of making marinara sauce, wherein, as I said, 5 pounds of Roma tomatoes which are sweet, 1.5 pounds of cherry tomatoes which are also sweet, and 3 tomatoes on vine which are sour, and they'll compensate for the sourness. We don't need to add lime juice. I have 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. We'll use it as needed. 2 teaspoons of salt, again we'll use it as needed. Half a teaspoon of chaat masala, it's optional, replace it with salt if you like. We have about 2 tablespoons of Italian mix. This is basil, sage and oregano, homegrown and home dried, very flavorful and fragrant. We have about 2 teaspoons of crushed red pepper or chili flakes. Use them as you like. If you're making it for kids, you can skip those. And we have about 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is going to enhance the color, deepen the color, and also going to add a little bit of flavor. It is salty. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to blanch our Roma tomatoes. We don't need to blanch the cherry tomatoes or tomatoes on vine, just the Roma tomatoes, because we need to remove the peel. So we have boiled the water and blanched the tomatoes. Now my tomatoes were in refrigerator, so I blanched them for about 4 minutes. If they were at room temperature, you blanch them for just 1 minute and then you take them out. For many of them, they have burst and the peel comes off easily. For the ones where the peel doesn't come off easily, you just cut it from top like this and then you peel it off and the peels come out easily. So we're going to peel out all the Roma tomatoes. So our tomatoes are now peeled and we have our cherry tomatoes as well as tomatoes on vine ready to go in. So we have taken a pot here and we are going to add our olive oil to it, and to this we are going to add our tomatoes. We cut our tomatoes on vine and big dices and added those and the cherry tomatoes, and we're going to let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. After about 10 to 15 minutes, all the juiciness of the tomatoes has come out. The tomatoes are well cooked. We're going to stir it and then we'll use a hand mixer to blend it all together. You want it to remain chunky, you don't want it to be fine blended, so you want to keep the chunks of the tomatoes in there. Give it a stir. If you want the deep red color on the marinara sauce, you may want to add a quarter of a beetroot to it. So boil it and then add that as well to the sauce, or you can use artificial colors. I don't like to use artificial colors, so I use beetroot. So we're going to let this marinara sauce come to a boil again, and at this point then we are going to add half of the brown sugar that we took and half of the salt that we took, and we are going to also add all of our Italian spices, all of the chaat masala. Now remember, we just took half a teaspoon of chaat masala in all this marinara sauce. It's just going to add a subtle flavor to it. If you don't have chaat masala, just add some more salt. And here we're going to add about half of our soy sauce. The reason we are adding only half of everything is because we're going to taste it and if we need to add all, we are going to add everything. So I just added the rest of the soy sauce, and I tasted this and it is sour, so we are going to add the rest of the sugar and salt as well. I usually make marinara sauce in large quantities and store it in freezers. I'll show you how I do that. But at this point, we are now going to let this sauce cook for a few minutes. I'll cover it and then we'll let it come to a boil. Once it has come to a boil, we can just continue to cook it without the cover and let the moisture evaporate till the sauce thickens to our liking, or we can add a Parmesan rind to it, which will help the sauce thicken. I'm going to add the Parmesan rind. Remember, the sauce does thicken up more on cooling, so make sure you thicken it appropriately. So I'll add my rind here, and then we'll let it cook for a few minutes, and after cooling we remove the rind. The sauce has thickened, as I was saying, and now we are going to store it in Ziploc like this, and then you can break it and take as much as you like and store the remainder again. So that is our marinara sauce. So that was our marinara sauce. I hope you like it and I hope you make it, and if you do, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in our next video. Till then, bye bye.